So we will be talking about this problem, alternating digit sum, a Leetcode problem number 2544. Over there, you were given a positive integer n, and then you need to extract each digit from this number n, and then provide some sign to it. The sign has to be alternating. So let us consider this example, 5 to 1. So first, you extract 5 from it, assign a positive sign to it. Then add the next digit, but change its sign to negative, and then add the next digit and change its sign, alternate its sign. So here it is minus, you make it plus. We have solved this problem using uh, JavaScript's reduce method. But what we did was we first converted this number to a string, then we called a split method on it so that we get an array out of it, and then we called the reduce method. And we use the reduce methods parameters such as the result, the current value, and the index. So what we did was we used the index to find whether the index is an odd number or an even number. If it is an odd number, we add plus. If it is an even number, if it is an even number, we make it positive. And if it is an odd number, we make it negative. So this is how we got the solution. But after solving this problem, I went to solutions and I found one solution from this user, and I really like the solution. So I wanted to talk about the solution. First myself learn what is the solution and then talk about it. Over here, what has happened, what has been done is that we use maths to uh, get extract each digit from right to left. How we can do it? We can first modulus this number by 10. So 521 mod 10, we would get 1, and then reduce the number by dividing it by 10. So we then get 52. And the next iteration, we get 2. Divide this number by 10, we get 5. And then you alternate the sign to get the solution out of it. So let us just try to write the solution from for it and see how the code was as proposed by in the solutions. So let we assign result equal to 0, and then let initially the sign be equal to 1. So we are going to use this sign as a multiplication factor. So either it will be plus 1 into some number or minus 1 into some number so that we get an alternating number. Now we could either use the while loop to see if while n is greater than 0, because we are going to be dividing this number by 10, and then our loop will exit when the number is lesser than 0. But another solution was to use the for loop, and I just wanted to talk about it. So here, for loop takes in three parameters. First one is the initialization. So you initialize some variable because you want to use that variable. Then the condition to see until when you want to run the loop. And then the third one is to increment the value of n or decrement it based on your condition. Okay. But over here, we just want to make sure that we decrement the value of n every time. So we don't have any initialization. We are going to call it on the uh, number n. We are going to call the for loop on the number n, and we want to make sure that the n is every time reduced by 10, or we reduce the n by 10. And we require, because in JavaScript we cannot we get numbers and decimals if we divide, so we need to take the lowest value, the math.floor value of it. So we can say math.floor and divided by 10. Okay, so our loop is going to run. Now this loop is going to run until the value of n is true. So if n reaches 0 or less than 0, then this loop will exit. So we don't have to have any condition over here. Over here we don't need to have any condition. So now our next step is to make sure have our sign variable. Since we are looping this number from right to left, so we'll be taking 1 followed by 2 and followed by 5. We need to start with minus 1. So sign is equal to minus 1. initially. And what we need to do is we need to take the result and add it and add. So we are going to do is we are going to take the sign, then multiply and mod 10. So we are going to take ex this n mod 10 is going to extract, for example, 1 from here and give a sign of minus 1 to it. So initially our result will be minus 1. Then the next step uh, in the for loop, n is going to be divided by 10. So we'll get 52 over here in n. So our sign is going to be plus 1 because initially it was minus 1. So sign is going to be plus 1 and our result will be 1 into 52 mod 10 is going to give you 2. So 1 into 2 is 2. And our initial value was minus 1. So minus 1 plus 2, which is going to give you 1. And then in the next iteration, we divide 52 by 10, we get 5. Our sign is going to be minus 1 now. So our result is going to be, our result was, so initially our result was minus 1, then we did plus 2, and then we have to do minus 5. So our result is going to be, so our result is going to be minus 1 plus 2 is going to give you 1, 1 minus 5 is going to give you minus 4. But over here the output is 4. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to return the result by multiplying the last sign with the result. Why? Because consider this situation of even count and odd count and even count. If it is in case of even count, our last sign would be plus 1, so it would not matter. So plus 1 into the result would give you the result. But in case of odd count, our last sign would be minus 1 and our result would also be in negative. So minus 1 minus into minus will give you positive and so our output will be positive. So this will give you the correct result. If you take the numbers from right to left. So let us run this solution and see if whether it passes our test cases. Yes, let us submit this. Okay, so uh, this was quite an interesting solution. We also learned, how we can use for loop instead of while loop in this situation wherein we don't have to initialize something, nor we have to give a condition. Why? Because we are decrementing the value of n on each iteration, and this for loop will automatically exit when n becomes falsy value. So when n reaches to 0, this for loop will exit out of it. So this was quite an interesting solution. Thank you.